Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thanks for tuning into another Super Tease video. And obviously, season 4 of Dragonflight is right around the corner, and we were anticipating some class balance changes moving forward, and some changes have been made. And I'm honestly hoping that there are going to be a few more. Now, obviously, in season 4, the player base has voted on tier set bonuses for that season, and some classes have been, they're not going to be enjoying the set bonuses that they're getting. In particular, I think the outliers are things like Shadow Priest, Destruction Warlock, Restoration Shaman, and Arms Warrior. They are all going from their Season 3 bonuses to Season 1 or 2, which are either just like flat out stat increases that are just not really desirable in PvP, which could likely lead to them dropping off in terms of viability for that season. So I was hoping that there was going to be some compensatory buffs to some of these specs that are going back to set bonuses that are likely going to be performing worse, but unfortunately those are not changes that are moving through on this set of changes. I was also hoping that they would address and kind of snip out the remaining PvP talents that remove magical debuffs from damage rotation abilities. These are paladin PvP talents. When they judgment, they cleanse off a magic effect, and for demon hunters it's when they use their immolation aura, they cleanse off magical effects. So in the previous round of PvP changes, maybe a few ones before that, they removed things like Feign Death removing magical effects because it was highly oppressive to classes that focused around damage over time effects. But these two effects were still left in the game, and they're even more notorious because now Ret Paladins, since their rework, are using Judgment a lot more frequently. Demon Hunters, since gaining more charges of Immolation Aura, are now also using that a lot more frequently. So they're just spam dispelling things like Flame Shocks and Immolates and making it even more difficult for those specs to be able to perform, especially Destruction, given the fact that it's losing its set bonus moving into Season 4, and these PvP talents still exist. I think that there's going to be a pretty big shift in terms of those specs viability in particular. So I'm hoping that they address that. We also got the announcement of the Arena World Championship. The tournaments are going to be spinning back up seemingly a week after the season starts. So I would really prefer changes like this to be obviously made before it starts, because maybe they're not going to make any as soon as the tournaments begin, similar to how Demon Hunters were during the AWC. The changes didn't happen until after the tournaments had concluded. So I would like to see some more premeditated moves on this. We did get some changes. I think rogues are also getting a nerf. Their Veiled in Midnight Cloak of Shadows is no longer going to be an evasion. It can remove a disarm or remove a physical root, but won't give them evasion, which I think was a healthy change for the game. And I think addressing those specs in an anticipated manner would also be a healthy direction for the game. But let's cover the specific changes for this one. In Season 4, we are reducing the overall throughput of some healers to better align with our tuning goals. Healers and Solo Shuffle are screaming. At the same time, we're increasing the comparative power of Holy Paladin, Preservation Evoker, and Holy Priest without needing to further escalate the capabilities of healers. The following adjustments are now deployed to the 10.2.6 PTR and will go live at the beginning of Season 4 next week. Mistweavers will have their healing reduced by 13%. Okay, don't worry, Solo Shufflers, this is not going to apply in PvP. Resto Druids are getting a 5% healing reduction that will not be in PvP, and Resto Shamans will be getting a 5% healing reduction that will not apply in PvP. For Disciplined Priest, we are seeing as part of our goal for balancing healers and raids, we would like to reduce the raid healing output for Disciplined Priest without affecting them in other content. So their Atonement is now going to transfer 35% of the damage to healing from 40, but their Atonement healing has been increased by 70% outside of raids, up from 50, and their Atonement healing has been increased by an additional 20% from 15 in PvP. So Disciplined Priest is getting a pretty juicy Atonement buff. And I've been really loving my Disc Priest. If you haven't followed my stream, I'm pushing rank 1 and Shuffle right now for it. I'm currently in range on Disc, trying to do a quadra push on Resto Shaman, Disc, Boomkin, and Destro. This makes me think Disc Priest is going to be really fun on the next patch. Also, interestingly enough, Preservation Evoker is becoming a lot more potent right now in Season 3, and they're going back to their Season 1 set bonus, which is going to be crazy powerful. I talked about the specs that are probably getting weaker with using older set bonuses. There are other ones that are actually getting stronger. Preservation Evoker could easily be the best healer with the instant living flames on top of its current output. And things like Balance Druid are obviously really strong right now in Season 3. Going back to their Season 1 set bonus is likely going to make them really powerful. On top of stats scaling up really high, spells are getting a lot faster. You know, in particular, things like Cyclone, they're getting a lot faster, a lot more difficult to deal with in particular. So these are the things, the outliers that I would like to see some premeditated attention drawn to that are negatively likely going to affect the health of the competitive play of the game. They also are going to be nerfing Fistweavers. For Mistweaver specifically, Ancient Teachings healing transfer amount has been reduced to 375, down from 412. Honestly, this is not really like, I think its healing output is still going to be really great. And then in the situations where it's not, it's going to feel terrible, right? So if you've got a lobby with a lot of hunters and mages, high mobility, high CC classes, Fistweaver feels really helpless. But when you get low mobility dot classes like Shadow Priest, I don't think that this nerf is really going to change that. So likely, I mean, this helps maybe the Shadow Priest teams into Fistweaver slightly, but it's still so much healing. I don't know if you wouldn't just heal to full anyways. That it's probably going to be pretty minor. So the result of these changes is likely that Disc Priest is going to be really cool and awesome. And I mean, it's the most fun class for me right now. And I'm always talking about Disc Priest in my videos, in my tier list, as far as being the most fun. So I'm pretty excited for that. And I just wanted to talk about some of the things that I think could possibly be problematic or bad for the health of the game moving forward to the next patch. So if you want to make sure that you're staying up to date with changes related to the World of Warcraft, then smash that subscribe button. Your support is greatly appreciated.